Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Photo Nation video. Hey, today we're going to talk about those mystery buttons. You know those buttons on the camera that when you got your camera for Christmas and you got frustrated with it and you put it away? Hey, well, get it back out, dust it off, and if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you rolled with me before, welcome back. Hey, there's at least 4 of those settings that I think you need to know about, and we're going to discuss them today. And make sure you ride with me to the end of this video. I have a special gift just for you. Let's get it.
You are entering Photo Nation.
What's up guys? Welcome back to another Photo Nation video. Hey, today we're going to talk about those camera modes on your camera. I call them the mystery buttons. So you got a camera for Christmas or for your birthday, or you went out and bought a camera and said, hey, I want to start taking pictures. But then you start looking at all of the settings on the camera and just got really confused and just frustrated and just put it away. Yeah, so today I'm going to show you about at least 5 settings that's going to be really helpful for you. And then I'm just going to walk you through some of the other things on here that would be helpful. And this could help take your photography to the next level by understanding your camera. It's not that difficult. So the settings we're going to go through is P for program, S for shutter priority, A for aperture priority, and M for manual. So we're going to start here on P for program. So on the program mode, it pretty much reads the light and does everything for you. If you look over here far left are your shutter speeds, in the center are your f-stops, and on the right it's your ISOs. All right, so we're going to start with the first one, the program mode. So the way program mode works, it doesn't understand depth of field so we're going to put it on the program mode. And on the program mode is that P for program. It doesn't mean professional, it means program. That means the camera does everything for you. So again, the far left is your shutter speeds, the center is your f-stops, and the right here is your ISOs. Now, everything is automatic, so no matter what you do, if I was to cover up the lens, everything would change. It would say it's not enough light. If I bring it here, everything would change. So on program, it does everything for you. So if you're okay with shooting program, then that's the setting for you. But if you want to take your photography to the next level, you're going to go to some of the other ones. So now we're going to go 4 other settings I'd like to really show you. So the next one is going to be the S for shutter priority on Nikon, TV for Canon, which is time value at your shutter speed. So basically what this is for, if once it's on that S setting, you set the shutter speeds and the camera will automatically set the f-stops for you. So if I change the shutter speeds, then the camera will automatically decide, how much light you need, and it will set the f-stops for you. And it would also set the ISO for you. For instance, sports photography might want to use that, or the sun is going in and out. So sports photographers might want to use shutter priority. That way they have control over the time or the speed. So your shutter speeds on this particular camera, it goes up to 1/4000 of a second. And as you close it down, you can see it goes all the way down 500 of a second, 200, 100, 60 of a second, 40, 30. And this baby will go all the way down. So you have total control. Notice as I'm changing the shutter speeds, the f-stops are automatically changing on their own. Because you're in shutter priority, that means you only have to control and change your shutter speeds. So you change your shutter speeds, the f-stops will change automatically. So you don't have to worry about it. So that's a pretty good setting. I rarely use that setting because I usually more portraits and portrait photography. Then you have the A, which is aperture priority. And on aperture priority, now the camera control, you control the f-stops and the camera controls the shutter speeds. So now I can change the f-stops. We at f14 right now. And you notice larger number, smaller aperture, let in less light. So I can just keep going, larger number, letting in less and less light. As I let in less light on the f-stops, the shutter speeds is adjusting. Now, it's at one half second. So you know if you're below a 60th of a second, you need to be on the tripod. So, okay. So let's just open it up. Let's go down to the widest opening. So we're at 5, 6, 5. It's going to be the largest opening unless I spin it. It's 5.6. And it's 5 if I spin it the opposite way. So 5, 6, 6, 3, 7, 8. So this camera is set to 1/3 stops. The reason why I know that, it should take 3 clicks for me to get to f11. So let's try it. 1, 2, 3. So it's set to 1/3 stops. So most cameras you can either set to 1/3 stops or 2 clicks, a half a stop. And I have my main camera set on 1 stop. I want to click 1 time and go to the next f-stop. So let's try it again. 11. It should take me 3 clicks to get to f16. 1, 2, 3. So it's set to 1/3 stops. But aperture priority is really good when you want to control the aperture and the depth of field. And the camera will automatically select the shutter speed for you. So that's pretty cool. But I normally shoot almost everything manually. Now, in the manual setting, you actually can have control. You take control of your camera. You be the boss of your camera. You're going to control your shutter speeds. You can control your f-stops, and you're going to control your ISOs. So let's look at the first. So manual, if you look all the way to the left, shutter speeds, I'm going to control the shutter speeds I want. So right now, I'm just going to go at 1/800. And now on manual, you're controlling the shutter speeds, the f-stops, and the ISOs. So on the ISOs, on manual, now I'm going to change the f-stops. And it's the same, larger number, least amount of light, smaller aperture. The smaller the number get, the larger the opening, the more light is allowed. So I'm just pretty much trying to show you the settings and what they're doing. If you're not familiar with the exposure triangle, which are shutter speeds, f-stops, and ISOs, go look at that video I have on the exposure triangle. But basically, I just want to show you some of the settings so you're familiar with them. Now, for the ISOs, it's pretty much the same thing. We can come here and come to our ISOs. We can go to everything here, go to our ISOs, and it shows you, I mean, it's at a really high ISO, which I probably never. So 100 ISO is more bright sun and overcast. 400 if it's getting a little lower light. 800 for even lower light. So it's getting more sensitive. 1600, 3200. And the reason why you would use such higher ISOs is when you're in a place where you can't use flash and you still need more light. Just remember, the higher the ISO, the more grainy or the less image quality you're going to get. But you can keep going. 6400. Now, this is when it's very low light. You can't use a flash. So you control all that manually. So you have your M for manual, A aperture priority, S shutter priority, And P is program, where you want the camera to take control. So what I want to do is just go through some of the settings with you. I'm going to hit this I button right here and just show you how you set some of this stuff. So let's come over here and let's go to find. So this is your image quality. So if I click that, it gives me options of raw plus fine, raw, fine, normal, and basic. And I recommend, if you're just starting out, a lot of my students come in, their cameras already set to raw. I don't know how I got there or who told them to put it on raw, but I recommend shooting on fine. And you see at fine, I can get the K down at the bottom is 13.6 thousand images, plenty of images, and you're getting 4.4 megabytes. Normal, let's go to normal. So you can actually get more images. As you go down, you're getting less images and less images. But we're talking really huge files. So I recommend you stay on fine. Then if you come over here, you have your auto white balance. Now, I recommend you stay on auto white balance because you can go to incandescent, fluorescent lights, direct sun, flash, cloudy, shade, and pre is where you do a custom white balance and you set. And I do a lot of my stuff outside on pre custom white balance, but I recommend you just stay on auto. Usually cameras do pretty good on auto, so I would just recommend you stay there. Now you're focusing. Now there's some cameras have 25 points of focusing, 50 points of focusing. You don't really need all of that. So usually the single point autofocus is pretty good, and then your auto area. So I normally stay on the center because center point autofocus. Because if you go here, and let's go back, see if I can go back to the menu. If you look right here, it shows you. See, I can go left, right, up or down, and I can put that focus where I want to put it. Unless I'm doing like the rule of thirds or something like that, I'm usually just right there in the center. So usually just right there in the center. All right, so if we come inside of the menu and you start at all the way at the top, let's go all the way to the top. This is your playback menu. So the first one is where you can delete. And if you hit that, it'll give you where you can delete certain images or you can delete all. So I'm gonna go back because I don't want to delete that. I have a few pictures on there. So then you have your playback folder. I usually put it to all. Display options, I don't mess with. Image review on because I wanted to come on the back of the camera. Once I take a picture, I want to be able to see it on the back of the camera. Auto image rotation, that means if you turn it left and right, once you put it in the computer, you can fix that. Rotate tall. So there's a lot of things in here you're not going to use. So let's go down one more. And we've already talked about, raw versus JPEG versus fine. I would just leave it on fine. Then you come down to your image size. Now, image fine is good. And then here, this is a 24 megapixel. I photographed weddings for years at 6 megapixels. And so, but now the digital cameras, even the prosumer cameras like the one I have here, you can get really good quality. So this is 24 megabytes. And I don't even think you need that much if you're practicing. I mean, you could do it, you know, with a 6 megabyte file. If you just wanted just a little better quality, You can go up to 13.5 megabytes. And if you just really want to, get the best quality, you can go up to a 24 megapixel. So ISO sensitivity, I don't mess with that much. We went over white balance. Color space, you always want to be in sRGB. We're going to keep it there. This I don't mess with. Active D-lighting, you could turn it on and off and play with that, but I always leave mine off. Noise reduction, it's on, but I usually don't mess with that too much. Vignette is when you want a vignette around your image. I definitely don't mess with that. Built-in autofocus illuminator. That's the built-in auto assist is when you're taking a picture, there's a little light that's right here. When you focus, that light actually lights the subject up so you can see how to focus. So I always have that on. Metering, you can go spot metering, center wave metering, matrix metering. I normally do spot metering. Flash control is for your pop-up flash, so I don't even use the pop-up flash. So anyway, those are just some of the settings that the camera have, and you have your, again, just to recap: program, shutter priority, aperture priority, manual. So manually, you controlling the shutter speeds, the f-stops, and the ISOs. Aperture priority, which means that you're controlling the f-stops in the center. The camera controls the shutter speeds. S for shutter priority, TV for time value on Canon, you actually are controlling the shutter speeds all the way left, and the camera automatically controls everything else for you. And then, of course, you have P for program, where it controls the ISOs, the f-stops, and the shutter speeds. So you just have to get familiar with your camera. Get your manual out. You might have to know, how to change the ISOs, how to change the f-stops, how to change the shutter speeds. But I just wanted to tell you where they are, because every camera is different. So get your manual out and just look up the part where it says how to change ISOs, how to change shutter speeds, how to change f-stops. So you have the button on top right here where you have your program, your shutter priority, your aperture priority, and your manual settings. So those are the only really settings that I usually mess with. And normally for 90% of the time, I'm on manual, because I want to control my shutter speeds on the left there. And I also want to control my f-stops in the center, control my ISOs. That should do it. At least I just wanted to show you what some of those mystery buttons are. So now you can go pick up your camera and just play with it and get familiar with it. And like I said, if you haven't seen my video on the exposure triangle, I think you should go back and watch that video. It really explains the job of the ISOs, the job of the shutter speeds, and the jobs of the f-stops. And so here I just wanted to show you that if you push a button, it's not going to smoke, it's not going to blow up, you're not going to hurt it. So just play around, and hopefully you got something out of this. It's program, shutter priority, aperture priority, and manual. So I just wanted to give you some tips on, so these buttons are not a mystery to you anymore. So go get your camera, dust it off, and play with the settings. And hey, we'll see you in the next one.